think about Molfix?
Actually, another brand was recommended to me, but it had a leakage problem. Then I decided to try Molfix. His clothes don't get wet anymore.
Because Molfix provides extra protection against leakage thanks to its anti-leakage elastic barriers.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
For an exclusive fragrance experience, try Nivea Men Deep Impact Body Lotion with a long-lasting woody fragrance, deep moisture, and a fresh skin feel. Make an impact with Nivea Men Deep Impact. Nivea Men, it starts with you.
Nestled at the heart of Tattoo City, Rural Kiambu, lies Lifestyle Heights, a prestigious gated community in a tranquil environment offering elegantly styled 2 or 3 and a 3-bedroom plus a DSQ apartment. Combining tasteful design and modern amenities, Lifestyle Heights offers you constant water supply, round-the-clock security, green and open spaces such as pergolas, kids play area, gazebos, swimming pool, among many others. Contact us on 0706 155 277 or 0726 205 208.
All the days and the nights, reading for them and to them. You don't stop, and neither do we. Help build a strong foundation for your growing child with Nestle Nunkid. Nestle Nunkid 4. Our best for you.
At the first sign of pain, you need a solution that you can trust. Try Panadol Advance. With Panadol's Optizode formula, the tablet absorbs quickly and starts providing fast and effective pain relief you can trust. Try Panadol Advance.
A place in your heart.
Even if you apologize 1,000 times, it's too late. We're done. Every time I see your face, I'm reminded of how you lied to my face while stabbing me in the back.
Audrey!
Go home!
I'm sorry. I know you're going through a rough time. But suicide doesn't solve anything.
I don't know what suddenly got into me to make me do that. I was just so confused.
A place in your heart.
If you make a commitment of 900K in any of their value-added projects, you get rewarded with a cool smartphone, bro!
Call us on 0790 300 300.
For years, others have told our stories and taken our narratives. That has led to misconceptions, half-truths, and outright lies. That ends now. It starts with the truth, our truth. A collection of our ideas, thoughts, and aspirations. The ones that propel us, enable us, and ultimately empower us. Find it all at nation.africa. An informed, unbiased, and comprehensive coverage of news and events, with in-depth investigative pieces as well as opinions from the best within and outside the continent. Nation Audio will also provide the best in creative audio experiences. Find fresh, innovative segments to stimulate your mind on Nation Puzzles. Stay up to date with the Nation newsletter. It's simple, affordable, and accessible to you with just one click from 150 shillings monthly. Subscribe now on nation.africa/subscribe and get the exclusive story. Nation. Empower Africa.
Unajua sasa na wanaume wawili ambao wanapenda sana na wananipenda sana.
Richard alishakudama.
He asked for a break. Ndio maana alikuwa anataka 2 months break.
So you're the girlfriend. In fact, Kenya kwenda kuja kuambia ni kama bado unataka tunaweza date.
Tumuuliza? Niko kwa market mimi.
Wewe hatukuwezi tuwe sisi.
Kwangu ni msichana ambaye ananipenda, unanielewa? Lakini mimi bado natafuta tu jambo la kuweza kumkwaza.
Siwezi endelea kunyamaza.
Okay, Ted, unajaribu kusema?
Teddy has been hitting on me.
How desperate are you?
Joey, you're pathetic.
You have a track record of chasing after men who are nothing to do with you. Like Max.
And Richard left you for who? At Berkeley.
Pieces of Us in association with Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Body Lotion.
It's time to show off your best skin. Wear your skin with pride every time with Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Body Lotion.
The Jubilee Party is stunned after losing the Kiamba by-election. This is that hotly contested seat that they were not supposed to lose, but they did, and seemingly all political hell has broken loose. So here we are, a party formed on the premise of national unity, development, growth has not only disintegrated right before our eyes, but we have even forgotten that Jubilee, in fact, still is the ruling party. The party leader, Uhuru Kenyatta, is still president. His deputy party leader, William Ruto, is still deputy president of this country. What of the promises? What of the little matter of governing this country? What about that? With all due respect, tonight, we want to ask exactly what went wrong with Jubilee, leading us to this inevitable state of the nation. I have the best discussant for this, here MP Ndindi Nyoro. Karibu to the program. Adan Keynan, Elders MP and secretary to the Jubilee Parliamentary Group.
Good evening, viewers.
Want to hear your thoughts. And for context, our very own Saturday Nation editor, Guchu, Ndung'u, who joins us tonight for the very first time. Karibu to the program.
Thank you very much, Matt.
All right, let's start where we should, with this, what Ndindi Nyoro said earlier on today.
Vile ilitendeka Kiambaa na hiyo maneno tuliona vile watu walipiga kura kwa njia ya peace, na even after a lot of intimidation kutoka kwa serikali, pesa mingi kutoka kwa serikali, watu wakachukua, wakakura, lakini kura wakapea mmoja wao ambaye ni Hasra mwenyewe, John Njuguna Wanjiku. Na mimi nimepigiwa simu na nimeona a lot of communication from other leaders about tuliacha kule nyuma kwa ile chama ambayo ilikwisha, ile ilikuwa the Red Party. Hiyo kitu mlikuwa mnaita Jubilee. Hawa watu wa Kiharu, the only Jubilee they know now ni ile inaitwa Jubilee Insurance. Na
with all due respect, Ndindi Nyoro, you can't say that. Surely you can't say that.
Thank you very much, Matt, for this opportunity, even for inviting me with a very senior member of parliament. He's actually a commissioner in parliament, Honorable Adan.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I mean it with all due respect, that the only Jubilee now left in the minds of the people, not just in Kiharu, but the people of Mount Kenya region, there are only two. There is one called Jubilee Insurance, which I know has a stake even where I am here at NTV in terms of ownership. And there is another one called Jubilee Feeds, because many people in our place are dairy farmers. So that is the only Jubilee they know. The other Jubilee that used to be a party is now past tense. It belongs to the past. In our mind, as the people of Mount Kenya region, is exactly when you reminisce about KANU. That is exactly what comes to mind. Jubilee, KANU are in the same trash and dustbin of politics.
Such powerful statements. Do we accept this by-election actually is over for Jubilee?
Thank you. I think the results of the by-election notwithstanding, Jubilee Party, first of all, is a legal entity where my friend, the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, and myself subscribed to and contested on that particular party ticket. And therefore, it's wrong
And you know, it's far-fetched to say Jubilee is dead. There are challenges though. There are challenges though that most parties actually are going through. And most parties that have been ruling, or most ruling parties actually have also been going through, and Jubilee is not an exception. So for him to say Jubilee is dead, why don't you just resign, seek a re-election on that particular party and see how the ground will respond. But equally, we must also accept as a party that there were challenges, serious challenges, because of the political disagreement between the two party leaders on policies, on issues relating to governance. And therefore, because of that, you certainly expected the party's performance, the party's existence actually in different parts of the country will be dwindling. These are things that we are trying to sort. For them, they are still in the celebratory mood. For us, it's a wake-up call. And I can assure you, the Jubilee after the Kiambaa by-election will be completely different from the Jubilee that you have been seeing. And watch this space. You will see a more reloaded, more re-energized, more properly planned, more people-oriented, more people-centered, more people-placed, and a Jubilee party that will be responsive to what we have collected right now, both summatively and formatively, and link up properly with the public. And I can assure you, watch this space, what we have done. You have seen our announcement yesterday. In the next 1 month, we will make sure the whole country is jubilated, just like in 2017. And therefore, it's too early for my friends, including my good friend Ndindi Nyoro, to celebrate.
It sounds like new promises, really.
Smart, you know, we have heard that story so many times now. I think this wake-up call is ringing too much. You know, even when you set an alarm to wake you up, there is a limit at when it should ring and at what duration. This wake-up call for this former party has been ringing for so long. From Sabweni, they said they are going to meet and do some here and there meetings. Nothing happened. They were defeated in Musabweni. Even after embarrassing the head of state, embarrassing the party leader of our former party, having actually held the hand of the opposition candidate, they were still defeated. They said it's a wake-up call. Then we went to Ladan Ward. It was a wake-up call. They never woke up. We went to Rorie Ward in Nyandarua County. They still said, we have learnt our lessons. We are going to reorganize. Another wake-up call. They never woke up. Then they went to Juja. It was a thrashing. They were defeated by a very huge margin. Still, they are still waking up. Kiambaa is there. I can confirm, because I was a member of that party. When, you know, Smart, when you are sitting on a furniture, a nice chair, especially made of wood, you cannot start saying you are going to resurrect that tree that made that wood. Jubilee is former. Jubilee is cooked. It ended. And I can tell you, if there is one party that I know is very good in killing the popularity of candidates and careers of good politicians, it is that former party. Why? If you look at, for example, the scenario in Kiambaa, our first preliminary poll, that is opinion poll, placed that candidate that they took from us at around 80%. They took him. We remember he was a Hustler Nation candidate from day one. He was the one actually taking our deputy president in Kiambaa. A man who had over 80% in the polls came down to losing to number 2. Our candidate was at a partly 10%. He joined UDA, the party that enjoys massive popularity in Mount Kenya region. From 10%, he actually won by almost a landslide if you factor in the machinery of government that was really at play.
Okay, let me get into issue. Here's the thing. The question we all have from Thursday to now, everyone is asking what's happening to Mount Kenya, what's going to happen to the central vote, the voters, central votes. UDA saying it's gone, it's done. Jubilee say we still, we've learned our lesson and we're going to perhaps change. What are we hearing? What are we telling ourselves? What happened? What did Kiambaa actually mean to us?
Okay, thank you, Smart. I think just to pick up on the ruling party and its fortunes in not only in Central but other places, the ruling party currently is undergoing what I call the painful changes or painful rebirth. So how that happens, what happens after that rebirth will determine its fate. But if you were to use history as a judge and evaluate Jubilee in terms of history on the lens of history, it's as good as on its dying days, because ruling parties rarely survive ruling. And we will start with KANU, 24 years. After it left power, you can see the number of MPs it has. Go to NAC, you can see what happened to NAC. PNU, it's currently a former shadow of itself. TNA, it merged into Jubilee. And Jubilee is now undergoing through the same process. So I don't, even if Jubilee survives, it may be a radically different Jubilee from the Jubilee we saw in 2017. Yeah. But to answer your question on the mountain is still, currently UDA seems to have the momentum. They seem to be the party to beat. But UDA's, Ruto's, Deputy President Ruto's biggest enemy is time. It's something he doesn't have control over, because currently he holds a lot of sway in the mountain, but his biggest disadvantage is the fact that winning or losing coalitions are formed around 3 to 4 months to elections. So it's still early. So he's leading currently, but his biggest enemy, I think, is time. And now the other challenge is there's nothing he can do about the time. He has to wait until August.
Yeah,
yes.
And something really happened in this by-election, if you are to be honest. Yes. This is the president's backyard. Yes. Losing this by-election isn't just another by-election. We can talk about Msambweni, we can talk about Kisii, Western, and, you know, things and candidates that he supposedly, quote-unquote, he supports. But this is Kiambaa, and the president losing his own backyard is serious. Is it not?
Yes,
yeah,
it is actually.
Yeah, I think that's the truth. That is the truth. Kiambu is the county where the president comes from. But equally, there's a statement which Guchu has just said. The Jubilee that we'll have after the Kiambaa by-election will be a Jubilee that will be radically complete in every aspect. Other than the name, we have already started. You saw what we said. We rolled out a program yesterday for the next 1 month. You see, the challenge we have had is, first, Jubilee is a product of TNA, URB, and other like-minded parties that came together in 2013. And therefore, that was some sort of a coalition with different players. It was used as a vehicle in 2013, 2017, and you know the dynamics. If you reflect a little bit, go back to the history, the making of the nation state of the Republic of Kenya. Look at the tribal composition, the regional challenge, and all this. All these were just opposed within that particular ruling party. It served the purpose. But immediately after 2017, there was policy discord, there was policy disagreement between the president. In our first BG, I remember, he said he wants 4 years uninterrupted development plan. The last 1 year for politicking. People disagreed.
So that's the first problem.
That was the first problem.
It was a policy disagreement.
Policy disagreement. I remember the first BG that was attended in State House, he said, look, thank you so much for electing him. The first 4 years, he wants to concentrate on development. Again, you saw immediately after that statement, everybody was engaged, everybody was very busy. That marked the beginning of the challenges and the quarrels actually within Jubilee. Yeah. It's like two people who co-own actually a house. There's a disagreement. You can't, you know the challenges. I do not want to use some harsh words. You can't separate the house. You can't split the house. Ultimately, we had to allow our friends who disagreed with the policy of the president to slowly, because technically, even my friend here, technically, legally speaking, is a Jubilee member of parliament until when he either resigns or some months to the next general election when the law will allow him now to move to another party. That's the truth. So it's because of that right now, that now that our friends have found a new vehicle, a legal vehicle called UDA, for those of us who have consciously opted to remain in the mainstream Jubilee, it is now our time, it's our turn to reorganize the party. And remember, from 1992, 1991, since the advent of multipartyism, there are no two general elections with similar players, with similar characteristics, with similar denominators. No. The dynamics have been completely different. If you look at and analyze 1992, look at it. Matiba came with a euphoria. What happened? By the time December,
yeah.
Matiba was evaporated.
I agree with you.
Let me finish this. Look at 1997. Everybody said Moi is gone. What happened? Moi ended up winning. 2002, 4 months to the election, and I was a member of parliament. Nobody expected. Kibaki was not even a factor at all. Yes. But one morning, in fact, we thought Nyachai was going to be the presidential candidate. But in Hilton, a group came together under the original NAC. Raila joined. You saw that famous Kibaki Tosha. That changed the equation. And it formed the beginning of, look at again in 2007, Kibaki was written off because of 2005 referendum. It was one community versus everybody else. Kibaki ended up winning. Let me just explain to you.
Yeah.
2013, until 4 months to the election, nobody even thought Uhuru will be a candidate. The assumption was Mudavadi will be a candidate, Raila will be the candidate, but suddenly Uhuru emerged, came up with an arrangement, he won the election. It's because of this. Right now, I'm not worried. In the next 1 month, and I promise you, write this, in the next 1 month, now that our friends have decided, I want to encourage them, we want to wish them well, please deal, be comfortable with your new outfit, allow us now to manage our party, Jubilee, and I can assure you, be prepared for a very stiff political, civil, and I will use the word civil competition, because we are in political competition, we are not at war, we are friends, we will do our bit in a civilized manner, do your bit in a civilized manner, but remember, we will always have a country called Kenya, which requires all of us.
I want to hold to that thought, because I want to go for a break, because when I come back, I want to find out exactly what is this thing that was the disagreement between the president and his deputy, and what exactly are people not happy about or happy about. All right, let me take a short break, pay some bills, with all due respect. We'll be right back.
The polio vaccine and all other vaccines have been tested and are safe and effective. Vaccinations protect your children. Get your child vaccinated now. This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health, UNICEF, and World Health Organization.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Nestle Nunkid 4 helps build a strong foundation for your growing child. Nestle Nunkid 4, our best for you.
Shopping season is here thanks to Notify Mall. Shop from hundreds of online shops at our mega malls along Moi Avenue in Nairobi and Moi Avenue in Mombasa. Notify Mall, all your favorite online brands under one roof.
Did you know at Ruiru Mabati Factory, you can open an account and lipa pole pole at your convenience? Did you know at Ruiru Mabati Factory, you can get customized sizes according to your roof plan to avoid wastage? Did you know Ruiru Mabati Factory offers free delivery countrywide within 72 hours? Call us now on 0111 050 700. Ruiru Mabati Factory, mali safi kwa bei poa.
A place in your heart.
Even if you apologize 1,000 times, it's too late. We're done. Every time I see your face, I'm reminded of how you lied to my face while stabbing me in the back.
Audrey!
Go home!
I'm sorry. I know you're going through a rough time. But suicide doesn't solve anything.
I don't know what suddenly got into me to make me do that. I was just so confused.
A place in your heart.
If you make a commitment of 900K in any of their value-added projects, you get rewarded with a cool smartphone, bro!
Call us on 0790 300 300.
At the first sign of pain, you need a solution that you can trust to provide effective relief and is gentle on the stomach. Try Panadol Advance for relief from headaches, body aches, and fever. With Panadol's Optizorb formula, the tablet gently breaks down in the stomach, quickly absorbs, and starts providing pain relief in 15 minutes. For fast and effective pain relief that you can trust, try Panadol Advance. This has been Medifax for Panadol.
My name is Mohamud Ahmed Mohamud, the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, popularly known as KDIC. KDIC encourages the depositors to continue doing business with licensed and regulated commercial banks and microfinance institutions. As part of the corporation's public awareness campaign, KDIC, in conjunction with its membership, the banks and the microfinance institution, recently developed KDIC stickers to be displayed in all the banking halls. Be sure to look out for KDIC stickers whenever you visit your bank.
KDIC, protecting your deposits.
The polio vaccine and all other vaccines have been tested and are safe and effective. Vaccinations protect your children. Get your child vaccinated now. This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health, UNICEF, and World Health Organization.
Welcome back. You're watching With All Due Respect. When we left, we were thinking of the question of why are people angry with Jubilee, and especially Central Kenyan voters. What exactly is making them angry? And we were getting to that question. Would you care to enlighten us? Why are Central Kenyan voters particularly angry?
I think, Smart, I'll attempt to answer that, but I think there are a range of issues.
Give me two.
On why Mount Kenya people are very restless, especially towards the ruling party and the government in place now. One, we elected the president with a lot of hope because, as you know, we came out in large numbers. I mean, the bedrock of our president was actually Mount Kenya region. Almost to the last man, we voted for President Uhuru Kenyatta. Not just that, Smart. It has gone a bit further. Remember, the people of Mount Kenya region supported President Kenyatta himself, original, from 1963 to 1978. That is 15 years. Of course, in front there, supported by the entire Mount Kenya region. In 2002, the current president became the opposition leader. That wasn't enough. On behalf of the Mount Kenya region people, later on, he became the deputy prime minister and finance minister. Of course, at the behest and representing the Mount Kenya region in the national cake and in the national table. We saw that wasn't enough. In the challenges, his ICC challenges in the year from 2010 coming all the way to 2013, we actually defended President Uhuru Kenyatta with a shield of our votes. We voted for him for a singular reason, that we wanted to protect the president from the tentacles of the ICC. The Mount Kenya region people, we have done so much to support our president. Originally from 1963 to date, we have done our bit. We have supported our president to the last man and properly. But then the people of Mount Kenya region are asking, having supported President Uhuru Kenyatta all this much, having supported Uhuru Kenyatta all this much, what have we gotten in return? When we got back to the presidency after the first term, of course, in his second term in the 2017, we had a lot of expectations because he had tried to do a few things here and there in matters of infrastructure, but unfortunately, Smart currently visit all the counties of Mount Kenya region. All the roads, most of the roads that were actually under construction, most of the contractors have pulled out of sight. We can see other development projects going on around other counties, but the counties of Mount Kenya region have been neglected. Come to electricity connections. The connections that were done prior to 2017, there has been very little additions from then, and especially from my region. Come to the issue of the cost of living. I was in Kiaba doing campaigns there, and literally people are very bitter. Number one, about the cost of gas, the cost of UGA, the cost of basic amenities and basic goods.
Okay.
They have skyrocketed within this government.
Yeah. I know Adan wants to jump into here, and we can continue with this, but just one question as, and then we get to Adan to sort of debunk this. Okay. If President was voted because they needed to protect him against the ICC, he didn't say he was going to do development. If that was the question, right?
In consequence, we thought we would hit two birds with one stone. But I'm actually past the first term. The first time he tried.
So the first time
when
was
they were working very well with the deputy president, they tried. I'm talking about the second term. When we elected him to bring electricity to the many homes of Mount Kenya region that are still in darkness, we elected him to finish the roads projects and other infrastructure. He veered off. He went to another project.
I want to understand.
Yeah.
So the problem in Mount Kenya is that the president, after the second term, he did not work with his deputy. Isn't that the problem?
No. If you listen to me properly,
I did.
I talked about real projects in Mount Kenya region.
So he didn't, after the second term, he did not do any projects in Mount Kenya.
There are some few projects. But the point I want you to understand, Smart, is this. In all the counties in Mount Kenya region, there are countless of stored projects, and especially roads projects.
But that's countrywide.
It's not countrywide. We can see projects going on in other areas. But let me finish the point. Beyond now the infrastructure, President Mwai Kibaki created a lot of tycoons, created a lot of enterprise billionaires. Enterprise billionaires meaning people who are not, who never benefited from privilege, but only through enterprise, their hard work. President Mwai Kibaki made a lot of these people. We can count them, many of them from my region. But juxtapose the same. Come to the contrast of the era of President Uhuru Kenyatta. The billionaires, the millionaires that were created by President Mwai Kibaki have been impoverished by this regime.
Okay.
Number one, if you look at your sister paper, The Nation, you bring it here. You look like the back pages, like 10 pages, these are auctions. Auctions of people whose assets are being auctioned in this regime. Yet this is the wealth they made during President Kibaki's time. All this anger is boiling in Mount Kenya region. We feel neglected. The president even never came back to say thank you after we elected him twice in his second term.
Isn't that a consequence of overborrowing and the corruption that happened the first 5 years? But please.
I think there are three things that we need to separate. First, Uhuru comes from a political family. And two, Uhuru did not join politics in 2017. He was a presidential candidate in 2002 and got substantial votes actually against President Kibaki.
Yeah.
To that extent, it is wrong to allege that Uhuru, you voted him to the man because of protecting him actually in court. Of course, it's true that there were issues actually with the ICC. That is true. And that might have informed certain votes from certain critical constituencies. That is true. But having said that, I think let's be fair. Recently, today, Kenya has been voted as a very important infrastructural hub, courtesy of a deliberate policy by the government of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta to have serious infrastructural development. We have the SGR. Along the SGR, you can see the kind of urbanization that has taken place from Mombasa to Nairobi, and then from Nairobi to Naivasha, the changes. That has not only brought about infrastructural revolution, but it has also changed the lives and the way of doing business by many people. That is something critical. And that's why recently Kenya was voted as one of the fourth actually best in Africa in infrastructural development. The first is Morocco, that was Morocco, South Africa, Egypt, and Kenya. And that status actually is not a mean achievement. Secondly, in terms of access to basic education to Kenyans, recently Kenya was voted as the best in human resource capital simply because of education, the education that we have there. Again, courtesy of this deliberate free education by President Uhuru Kenyatta. I think there's something that the president is the president of the Republic of Kenya. He is not the president of Mount Kenya. And
what he's saying is that those things are not being felt.
No, let me explain this. Let me explain this. I do appreciate and I do acknowledge that there's communication breakdown, not communication breakdown per se, but you know, the good development project that have been initiated by the government may not have been marketed properly to the public. That is true. And that's why we're saying right now, it's simply because the role of politicians actually was missing. That's why yesterday we said, henceforth, we will require a deliberate change of policy to have politicians play a critical role in the dissemination of government policy actually to the public. That might have been there. But for somebody to go on record to say President Uhuru Kenyatta did not do a lot for the people of Mount Kenya, and by extension, the people of Kenya, I think it's unfair to the president, it's unfair to Jubilee, and these things have been documented. It's all over. Mount Kenya region have some of the best roads. So they have some of the, you know, the best water supplies. Electricity from the national grid is all over. I think what the president will refuse, and I will have refused, is to be reduced to a village kingpin, is to be reduced to a regional kingpin. The president is the president of the Republic of Kenya, and therefore that role of the presidency as a unifying factor must be, even if tomorrow Ndindi was to become the president, I'm sure he will not become the president for Keynan. He will be the president of the Republic of Kenya, and therefore certain expectations nationally must be met. So let's be fair also to the president on what he has done, because these things are being documented. It's all over. Even if you want to deny him the credit, it is there. It's being felt on the ground.
With all due respect, I need to get Ndung'u to bring us back to some sanity here.
Why people are not appreciating? I think let me just explain that point. Why people are not appreciating? You know, right now,
people from Mount Kenya
not only there's a problem. The problem is right now we have the COVID crisis. The cost of living has gone high, and equally, any government.
But why?
Any government involved. You remember? Let me give you Obama. Obama was elected with a lot of euphoria. Not even the way President Uhuru Kenyatta was elected. Within 2 years, Obama was reduced to a lame duck president, but he ended up winning another term. So this issue of using one by-election or two by-elections to gauge the popularity or the performance of a government is not fair, and things will change.
Smart. There are a few things I want to respond from my colleague.
Can I get Ndung'u just chime in, and then I give you opportunity to respond properly. Ndung'u, the question here is this: that for the last 4 years, and you know, we've reported the anger or the supposed anger, you know, from Mount Kenya region. And it's a question of development and projects and things that have not happened. Is that the whole truth, or we're just dealing with a smoke screen, a political smoke screen?
I think it's more or less a mixture of both, whereby yes, you know, the issue of roads and development, they are there. But I think the question that we always ask ourselves, and it's not a question of the second term, is actually right from the first term. What is the cost of the infrastructure we are getting? Because if you look at the cost versus the benefit, you do a cost versus benefit analysis, you find the problem of Jubilee did not start in 2017. It started way, I think, after election, when they embarked on very huge, expensive projects, living, and some of those projects are financed by debt, and some of them require high interest repayments. Others are very stringent. So what that has done is it has actually sucked the money out of the economy, such that you are paying almost 30–40% of your revenues to repay debt. Yeah. And that did not happen just because of in the second term. So on that bit, I think my friend Ndindi is being dishonest on that. But on the other issue of the taxation, and the issue is talking about the economy not having any money, and that's the reason why Mount Kenya is rebelling. I want to challenge both the gentlemen there. Both of them are MPs. They sit in parliament, where laws are made, and where if you want to actually create or you want to change budget, you have the power to do so. So I actually find it a bit interesting that when they come here or they go out there, they talk about how bad things are, but when they go in there, they don't make the necessary changes. Now back to your question, Smart, on the issue of Uhuru and his popularity or lack of it in Mount Kenya. Yeah. I don't think it's an economic issue. Much as the economy is doing badly, everybody knows that. The economy could have been handled better. It was not. But it's not a second-term issue. It started, I think, way around 2014, 2015, when we started seeing guys going for months or even years without being paid their bills. Yeah. I think the problem is more political. It's because the president has become unpopular in Mount Kenya once he fell out with the Deputy President, William Ruto, and embraced the handshake. So that has, and the other team, the Ruto team, has managed to do quite some information, I don't want to call it propaganda, I want to call it some, they have started to do a bit of campaigning there that has painted the handshake as the beginning of problems for people in Mount Kenya. So yet some of those problems were existing way before the handshake.
Thank you, Ndung'u. So Ndung'u saying the second term is a consequence of the first term. So we cannot say first term was perfect. We took all these loans, all this credit, and we have to pay for it in the second term. But let me get a tweet for you before you respond. I need you to respond. Mount Kenya is in 3 pieces now. Those who believe that we need one of us to bargain for us, but not Kenyatta. Those who want Ruto to take the mantle, and those who still want Uhuru in politics, even after retirement. That is Balaseth on Twitter. But here's the question. How do you delink what happened in the first term? All the great things, the connection of electricity, the roads that have been built, infrastructure project and everything else. We went into a massive spending spree and took all these loans, commercial loans, that you have to pay for them. How do you link that from what is happening in the second time when you have to pay for them?
Smart, we work with facts. And if you go to the central bank website now, you'll be able to see the kind of debt our country accumulated from 2013 up to 2017. And then you can be able to see the kind of debt we have accumulated in this handshake government. And it is clear for everyone to see that we have done very badly in this second term. But before I come there, allow me, Smart, to respond to some of the issues that were raised by my colleague Keynan. He talked about Kenya being voted in terms of Human Development Index. I want to tell Mheshimiwa Keynan, there is a difference between voted and actually the feeling. When President Kibaki was reigning in this country, during President Kibaki's time, we never needed any institution to tell us the economy is doing well. We felt the economy in our pockets. When President Kibaki was there, we needed no one to tell us about Human Capital Index, because people were leaving universities, they were getting jobs in banks, jobs in telcos, jobs in media houses. There was a plenty of opportunities for the young people. Number 2, he talked about something about economic growth. Oh, we have achieved this and that. I agree with Keynan. When you read figures, you can see the economy grew. But I want you to go to Nyamakema, you go to Muranga, and ask the Kenyan people whether they feel that economy in their pockets. They don't. Because Honorable Keynan did not tell us about something called Gini coefficient. Gini coefficient measures, yes, after you have measured the economic growth, how is it distributed? Kenya is one of the most unequal societies in the world.
But that didn't happen in 2017.
I'm coming there, Smart.
Yes.
And this is how this Gini coefficient is high and inequality is high. In this regime of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and we have the masses. Of course, for semantics' sake, William Ruto is only president because he lives at Karen in the deputy president residence. But for sure, in terms of roles.
It's fine, but he's the deputy president of the
in terms of roles, for sure. So, Smart, let us not start hiding under some figures, under some semantics. The Kenyan people know that this economy is doing badly, and this is how that inequality has come on board. Out of the 40-something million Kenyan people, unfortunately, this regime and unfortunately our president have a very narrow social capital, mostly based on kin selection. The other one, of course, dealt around reciprocal altruism. If you look at the people the president works with, they have become billionaires overnight. The friends of President Uhuru Kenyatta are now the richest people in Kenya. They don't own any industry. You will not be told they manufacture ball pens or they manufacture tires.
Give me an example.
Murathe is one of them. He's one of the biggest billionaires in this country now. Which industry does Murathe own? The only industry they own is called politics. Just from 1963, where we have now the richest people in Kenya are those who are attached to government and politics. Now we have seen a proliferation of the same in this regime of President Uhuru Kenyatta, where the hardworking people, let me finish, Smart.
Finish your point.
And I'm trying to compare this regime and the immediate former, because these are just clear examples Kenyans can relate to.
Okay.
From 2003 to 2012, we saw an emergence of indigenous banks. Some of them, you know them, Equity Bank from our place, Muranga. We saw Family Bank. We know this kind of media house, Nation Media Group. It was there, but it was burgeoning. It grew during that time other media houses, your competitor. We had real industries coming up. We had real names you could mention, captains of the industry that were created through the policies of President Mwai Kibaki, either through access to credit, conducive environment, and others. What now can we contrast from that regime to this one?
Good question.
The same people that were made by President Mwai Kibaki, the policies of Uhuru Kenyatta made all these people come down. They are now being auctioned. The many corporations they built are now crumbling down. The many even government institutions, SOEs, state-owned enterprises that were built during President Kibaki's time, like Kengen, like Kenya Power, they are now coming down. It can only be systematic out of policy and lethargy in leadership.
30 seconds and you go to a break.
I think first we must accept that Kenya, as a member of the global community, is serious economic meltdown all over the world. It's not attributable to Kenya alone or to President Uhuru Kenyatta. That's as a result of the COVID pandemic. That's as a
Can we
result
agree there's been mismanagement?
Certainly there has been mismanagement. I agree. It's not a President Uhuru. In fact, they are trying to run away from the problem. They are part and parcel. In fact, they may have contributed more to the problems, to the corruption in this.
I think finally we're getting somewhere.
Yes, they may have contributed more. The group right now who are trying to pretend clean might have contributed more actually to the crisis at Kenya Power and Lighting Company, the crisis at Kengen, the crisis at many other institutions. We need to address. That is different. But I think let's also be fair. Morada is not here. I don't want to be spokesperson, but I think it's also fair. Let's be courteous in the way he's not fair. I think let's leave him out of this particular debate as to whether he's, with due respect, as to whether he's a billionaire or not. Let's leave it for another debate because he's not here with us. But equally, I think we need to separate. This government has been won. The group right now, allegedly, who are Ndung'u, were the critical players in this government in every aspect. Right now, because of the global pandemic, they are trying to run away from some of the problems that they created, actually, some of the problems that directly or indirectly that were attributable to them. And I can mention this one of Kenya Power and Lighting Company.
I want to come
and
back.
I'm sure the statistics will prove.
I want to take a short break.
Yes.
And I want to come back. Because at some point, we have to agree that these policies just didn't start yesterday. This is a systemic failure, with all due respect. You're watching With All Respect. Taking a short break, we'll be back.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex.
Protex. Good health starts here.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
With the Stay Soft refill, saving money is as easy as snip, pour, mix with water, and shake. Stay Soft refill. It's 2 liters of Stay Soft for up to 30% less.
Right, welcome back. You're watching With All Due Respect. Just before we left you on a high, and the question was, who takes the blame on what has happened in this country in the last 9 years? It's 9 years of Jubilee government. If you could give me, just from clarity, from a journalistic perspective, we've covered Jubilee from the beginning. We've covered the Jubilee promises from the beginning, and what they said they were going to do. And we saw when the debt was rising, and the questions were raised then, who takes the blame? Is it a question of the president in the second term, or is it a question of a failure of Jubilee policy, with all due respect?
Oh, thank you, Smart. I think it's a failure of Jubilee policy in total, because the first time, if you remember, they worked together, the camaraderie, the red ties, the white shirts, the folded sleeves. So, I mean, clearly there were people who were in the same ship in all aspects, both economic, political. Even if you saw appointments were mostly split into two. There were Ruto guys, Ruto allies were appointed, but the president's allies were appointed. So it's a shared blame. And actually, interesting enough, I see it currently, sometimes the likes of Mheshimiwa Nyoro and the Ruto team tries to heap blame on the president alone for the failures of Jubilee. Successfully so, they have successfully done it. But if you ask me, Smart, it's a shared responsibility. It was a joint government. It was a government by the two. But then another aspect that I also find interesting is sometimes when you see the deputy president going somewhere, he actually sometimes takes credit for the connection of the number of people who have been connected to electricity. But when it comes to failures of the Jubilee government, he actually says that the failure started once the handshake agreement was done in 2018. So from where we stand, it's a joint ship, and I think they swam in it together. If they're going to sink, or the police are going to sink them, they should sink together.
So and then here's the thing. You're all in Jubilee. For all intents and purposes, he's a Jubilee MP. You know, he stayed there for the period of time, but he's a Jubilee MP. Jubilee MP is a shared failure, but he's running away from it and successfully so. What is wrong with you and your team?
Actually, Guchu has actually responded to this. We had one government with one leader, with one deputy leader, with members of parliament. You know, policy issue is not a one-night issue. A policy issue must be drafted, contextualized, disseminated, implemented, and you wait for the results. So it's like, the way they assume it is like President Uhuru Kenyatta just woke up one morning and say, he has built this road overnight. No, these things are, these are things that have been there for the last from the time the government, and some, the government actually was formed, or some might have been inherited from the past government. But then the truth be said, there are certain global things, and there are certain things that are attributable to our own institutional failure, like corruption is rampant, that's the truth. Two, there were certain policy failures, that's also true. But whose responsibility? Our responsibility, all of us, including those who are now purportedly pretending to be clean under the cover of, under the guise of UDA, all of us. If there are policy failures, it's not attributable to the president. I had an opportunity to correct it in the House, in Parliament. I may not have done, so I'm part of the blame. He had an opportunity to correct the same in Parliament. He didn't do it. He didn't. So all of us, if there were failures to the Kenyan people, it's something that all of us must own up and say, we failed this as part of our duty as the leadership, as the elected representative of the people of Kenya. And if we say that properly, even people will understand. But apportioning blame that I was not there, and we own one house, you occupied one bedroom, I occupied the other bedroom, we had the same living room, that is not correct. What is correct right now, the issue, the global menace, the global problem is not a Kenyan issue. Look at what is happening all over the world, America, Europe, all over the world. In fact, in some countries, Kenya is even far much better because of the way we have managed, because of the resilience of the Kenyan people, because of our economic...
I have to push back on this with all due respect.
Yes.
The pandemic happened just last year. We've been in economic turmoil for a while, since 2016.
No, I think it has stagnated since...
I agree, it might have exacerbated it, but yes, we've been in economic doldrums for a while.
Absolutely, but as I said, it's a global phenomenon. You see, we are operating in a global, as part of the global community. Kenya is a responsible member of the international community. So you cannot isolate something that is happening, has been happening globally, just to a Kenyan issue simply because you had one person. No. There are issues of mismanagement, that is true. There are issues of corruption related. There are issues of policy failures. That is true. We are not going to run away from this. And at the opportune time, we will correct. And where we may not have an opportunity to correct, Kenyans will also understand. But if there were failures, as Guchu has rightly put it, collectively, as Jubilee, not the Jubilee that has gone now to UDA or the Jubilee that has remained in the ministry, is our problem. So don't patch the same on the president alone.
Yeah.
Start with both of them or all the other people who are there, and let's accept that we all made a mistake.
There's the question of corruption, and that has been a pandemic in this republic from 2013 up to now. At what point is UDA going to say corruption is not part of our problem? It is President Uhuru and Jubilee's, monkey.
First of all, because even corruption is part of the legacy or non-legacy of the regime, we must put things to perspective, in all honesty. And Mheshimiwa Adan Keynan is an experienced member and an experienced politician. And he knows for sure, when we elect the president goes to the steering wheel. I have been repeating issues and successes of President Kibaki's regime. I have not yet mentioned Kijana wa Marwa anywhere. You have not heard me mention Mheshimiwa Mudi Awori anywhere, because I know the person who actually bears the last responsibility of the nation is none other than the president. And therefore, if the country goes down, we do not remember the other people around there. I have not mentioned the NAMP who was part of the Kibaki regime, because the person who was given the actual ultimate responsibility was the president. And before I depart from that point, because most of the people, especially from our former party and the opposition, they keep saying, the deputy president, they have been part of this. Mheshimiwa Adan Keynan knows better than me. President Mwai Kibaki, the maverick of the Kenyan economy, was actually vice president of this nation for a whopping 10 years. He made no changes to our economy because he was vice president. There was a president. Whereas he had a lot of ideas in his mind, they remained in his mind. He was a minister for health, a minister for finance. He couldn't do anything. Just go here to Tanzania. Even on a policy that is very current, on corona, we had a president, told people don't wear masks. Immediately, the other president, who was actually his VP, came on board. People start wearing masks, partly below 1 month after he took over. There is another example I like giving, because it's a real example. 1976, SMART. Prior to 1976, the president of China was General Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong led China. Many people died because of his policies, like Cultural Revolution. Many people died out of his policies then. The Secretary General of the Communist Party of China is the one who actually took over from 1978. China started growing by over 10% per annum, actually even compounded. The same person who was part of the system. And therefore, President Uhuru Kenyatta must take responsibility on the current situation in our country, on the issue of corruption.
Yes.
Let me finish, Keynan. I never interrupted you. On the issue of corruption. We have to understand one of the things that corruption does actually to an economy. Forget about the bribes and etc. The real corruption is actually state capture. And what the corruption does to the economy is that it distorts economic incentives to this level. If, for example, somebody can earn 100 billion as a cut from the railway, because it is clear somebody stole from our railway, it was overpriced, somebody must have taken off with 100 billion. Tell me how many companies listed in the NSC can report 100 billion profit per annum. How many people do they employ? What kind of economic activity do they perform? So that you try to see how actually corruption can diminish the fortunes of a country by distorting the incentives, the economic incentives. The real corruption, let me tell you, Smart, the real corruption in this country is something called state capture. And for you to understand how a country is captured, let me use an example between Kenya and the US. Keynan is saying, global economy is doing badly. Unfortunately, his sentiments are not backed up by facts. If you go to a country like the US, the current billionaire in the US has unprecedented wealth. You can mention the top 10 globally, from Elon Musk to Jeff Bezos of Amazon, to other people in real, tangible enterprises. In Kenya, I want to show you how state capture works. The top 10 people in Kenya, who are the richest, partly from the Forbes. One is a family I can't mention, because it's known by every Kenyan. That is number one, that family. The second is the other family that I can't mention, because Kenya know this family. Then the others follow. Now ask yourself, those families that I didn't mention, but Kenyans know them, what industries do they operate in? It is only politics. Why? They use policies to start small companies. They use government machinery and policies to make their companies flourish at the expense of real hard-working business people.
Here's the thing.
That is why leadership in Kenya, they are in every sector. And I use an example, smart. In banking, you see, you go to banking, for example. We have many banks in Kenya. And allow me to make this point.
Very quickly, 30 seconds.
But if you look at the access of credit between President Kibaki's time and this time, I mean, you don't even need to have an answer. During President Kibaki's time, ningepata mtu wa bank hapa nje ananigojea. Nijaze form anipatie loan. What is the current situation? The current situation is fintech. People using mobile to borrow. Who owns these platforms? These are very critical points, Smart. Because I'm driving a point on state capture. Kenyans must and have a right to know when they Fuliza, when they Mswali. Most of the Kenyans think it is Safaricom that benefits. It is actually our leaders, some of who actually own banks in this country. So they encourage fintech, consumerism kind of borrowing, at the expense of real borrowing that actually drives the economy.
So I agree. Yes, it's a problem. But how is your politics, UDA politics, fixing this? Adan.
Yeah, I think first, Kenya is not a socialist state, it's a capitalist state. And what happens is determined by supply and demand. So if you were to take the route and General Mao is not there, you know there was no election, there was no, certainly it was a one-man show. Here, President Uhuru Kenyatta is a person who has been democratically elected with a lot of checks and balance. The circumstances are completely, it's not even comparable at all. And if you look at the opening chapter, and I say this, if you look at Article 1 equates sovereignty to representation. Tell me at that particular time in 1976 where General Mao was, whether there was any article that inhibited his performance as an individual. 2, look at Article 96, your role as a member of parliament and what you are expected to do. So there is no comparison. But I think one thing that the issue of particular individuals, connected individuals benefiting from the state. Let me explain this. It's rampant. That is true. It has been there.
The state capture.
The state capture. It is there. It has been there. It's something that it's not a Uhuru Kenyatta phenomenon. It has been there throughout. It is there all over. In any.
It's a setup of this. Let's talk about this republic.
I'm just saying, individuals will benefit because of their position. It is there. It has been there before, and that is why right now we are trying to strengthen our institutions. If you look at again what the framers of the current constitution, the current constitution had in mind, was to root out to minimize some of these issues by coming up with different institutions. The Anti-Corruption, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
They don't work.
The Ombudsman Commission, the Police Oversight Commission, and many other institutions.
With all due respect,
if they don't work, then it's a failure on your part as a citizen and also by part as a citizen. Collectively, it's not something that we can say is the failure of President Uhuru Kenyatta. It's our failure. So let's separate our failure, including mine as a legislator, including Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, including you as a citizen, and also what the government may have missed actually to achieve. I do agree. There are so many things the government ought to have done that the government has not done. There are certain policies that the government did not implement as expected. There are a number of missed opportunities the government actually issues. These things are there. They are being documented. It's happening. Notwithstanding that, with the COVID, what I'm trying to review, and what anybody else with a common sense will try to review, this is one house that we co-owned. We implemented the same policies. As you have, as Guchu has rightly said, there was a time when the president and the deputy president will dress in the same attire, as if they might have discussed, or whoever was preparing their outfits for that particular day must have also had a certain discussion or whatever. That reality is something that comes. If you look at even the composition of the government, the composition is like 50-50. It's like it was like a coalition.
It's still the same, isn't it?
It's still the same. It has not changed. We still have President Uhuru Kenyatta as the party leader of Jubilee. We still have William Ruto as the deputy leader of Jubilee. We still have Ndindi Nyoro as a member of parliament for Jubilee. Adan as a member of parliament for Jubilee. What we are reviewing is this: create problems, run away from it, apportion it to certain individuals where we have failed collectively. And I can assure you, Kenyans are very clever people. Kenyans are very clever people. Let's don't look at this midterm challenge.
Do you believe, as we were to wind up and get away from this, do you believe the deputy president is the solution to deal with state capture and corruption in this country? As the president?
I don't think so.
Why?
I don't think so. This is a systemic problem that all of us. Let me tell you this.
So who's going to sort it? I need to find solutions.
You see, like we need, you remember, look at the NAC effect of 2002. Immediately after the NAC government was formed, even the Kenyan public were arresting corrupt police officers actually on the street because of, the new environment. What we need to do right now is to energize Kenyans, to make sure institutions are working, and give hope. If each one of us works as expected as a citizen, we pay taxes, we make sure we don't bribe, we make sure we follow the law, some of these things will come to an end or will reduce. Okay. So it's not a one-man problem, it's our problem. At that particular time, is it Kibaki who was arresting people? Did we have a change of law? We didn't have. It's simply because of attitude. It's simply because of the expectation. It's simply because of the new environment. Yeah. These are things that we need to inculcate. And that is why some of the components in BBI actually were meant also to address some of the deficiencies in the August 10, Constitution.
Okay. Guchu, I'll come back to you as you start to wind up. Guchu, here's a quick question and a quick point. When you talk about corruption and state capture, and we've reported corruption endlessly. I mean, our papers are filled by theft in these government resources and that sort of thing. And Parliament, does some of these things, the inquiries of the sorts. Do we get to the point of actually apportioning blame and say, this is a political problem?
Yes, it's a political problem across the political divide. As to whether, maybe just to back what Ndindi said, so yes, sometimes you see changes when a new leader comes in, even if they were part of the system, and Kibaki is a good example of that, and other examples he has given. But that leader, sometimes it's difficult to tell when they are in the system whether they will do it. So the solutions to that becomes very problematic for Kenya, because almost everybody who's running for political campaigns right now, who's running for president, has been at one point or another been in government, and have been in one point or another been associated with corruption, either directly, indirectly, being charged in court. So I think we are just, sometimes I feel we are revolving around the different forests, same monkeys. So how to solve it going forward becomes a challenge as Kenyans. And maybe it's time we also asked ourselves as voters, do we need maybe to just have a clean broom that is going to sweep the whole forest and get, for lack of a better word, new monkeys?
Okay, wind down. Your final point.
Final?
Yes. Your final point as we go home. The question of solving, let's say, the state capture, for instance, is your candidate, I'm assuming your candidate is the deputy president, William, is he the solution to this?
I believe he's the solution, but looking at it globally, smart. I wish we had more time so that we can try to even discuss the issue of state capture, because I think this is a major problem.
We will have it.
That has bedeviled our economy.
I'll make
for example, as I write down, tell me how, in 2013, my mother was selling milk at 30 shillings per litre, raw milk. I was buying in Nairobi, half at 60 shillings. Now, my mother is selling that milk raw at the same 30 shillings. And now, I am buying in Nairobi at 120 shillings per litre. We can talk about corruption, and we see the police taking bribes here and there, and we think that is the real corruption. The real corruption is actually the state capture, because it captures the entire productive side of the economy. I want to end up by saying this, smart. This regime has pushed us into a corner as the population of Kenya. That is why you are seeing even the kind of revolt the people of Mount Kenya region are doing in terms of the by-elections. Even after intimidation, even after a place like Kiaba, where chiefs were literally buying people 3,000 shillings per person, where they were literally going against the law and actually paying Inua Jamii money to our elderly after they vote for their candidate.
Did you report them?
I was there. Who do you report to? Kenoti or who?
Yeah.
Which Kenoti?
You're a responsible senator.
Over the weekend, he drinks with the same people I'm going to report.
You should report this.
We are waiting for our time to clean up. We have no time to keep reporting people here and there to themselves. I want to tell this regime, the kind of revolutions that I've seen in the world of our history, they happen through the kind of systematic pushing they are doing to the Kenyan people. They have increased the price of gas. They have crossed our forests. What do they want our mothers to cook with? Viveriti ama nini? They have increased the price of gas. Now, they can shamelessly come on TVs and tell the Kenyan people they want to increase school fees for our university students. I want to tell this regime, if you mind about your existence, please do not try to increase school fees even by 1 shilling. At such a time like this, when many Kenyans have wallowed in poverty out of corona and out of the management by this regime led by Uhuru Kenyatta.
Which you are in, by the way.
I'm not part of it. Which part of it?
Adan.
Actually, there are two false narratives. One, there's an attempt to run away from issues that collectively.
The systemic failures in this country.
Yes, that is one. Two, there's also an attempt to create a personality cult in the name of who or whatever. Completely different from the individuals that we know. Even if you get different names, you'll still be smart. I can call you Mohammed, but if physiologically, physically, you'll still be smart. So to that end, Kenyans are very clever people. So what they want to do right now is to create a personality cult, and then use the same personality cult now to create a clash between what they see as a way forward and what they perceive to be the old. I think let's call this.
Do you think that's dangerous? Or
it can't work. It can't work. It can't work. It can't work. It will not work. This false narrative actually will come to an end. I'll give you an example. Before we went to Kiamba, as Jubilee, we were not doing very well. But when we decided as politicians to go to the ground, within a span of 2.5 weeks, at that particular time, I think I agree with him, their candidate have been doing very well. Within a span of 2.5 weeks, we changed, and right now, it's almost 50-50. That's why I'm saying, give us 1 more month. We will demystify this. We will deconstruct this.
Yes.
And the issue of chiefs, let's be fair to this, and I can bet, if my friend Ndindi Nyoro had even an iota of evidence against one chief, by now that will have been all over.
So it didn't happen?
It didn't happen. And therefore, let's allow our civil servants, let's allow our public servants, who are expected actually to be neutral or apolitical, to do their work as expected.
He didn't report them, so we'll assume it didn't happen.
Because it was not there.
Yes.
It was not, if it was there, I'm sure right now it will have been
Fair point, I'll take that.
Yes.
All right.
Smart, before you depart from that point of Kiaba, because it's very critical, and that is the reason you called us here. It was even the chairman of IEBC even called a presser. We even have photos, I am sure you have seen them, of chiefs inside the police centers bribing people.
Why?
And even after bribing people, using state money, using state machinery, using Inua Jamii, using food meant for starving Kenyans,
yes,
they were still defeated by the popular vote.
With all due respect, I think they should be reported.
They should be reported.
I have told you,
I agree.
Smart,
they will be arraigned.
We cannot report the government to itself. You tell me to report to DCI. That is the same DCI who over the weekend drinks with the same people. You are telling me to report to him.
No, hang on. We have to be fair. We have to be fair.
I think let's be fair.
Yeah, we have to be fair to the
in our pursuit of political power,
we
cannot purport to destroy institutions. The DCI is an independent institution.
And it's not an individual.
It's not an individual.
I have I'm not mentioned the name.
Yes.
You will realize,
you should go to
you don't know which office I was meaning. I said DCI.
Yes, maybe you can talk about an individual.
Yes.
An individual. And that's, but talking about DCI, Directorate of Criminal Investigation is an entity. It's a legal entity. And therefore, I think let's allow them that decorum. Let's allow them that respect. If there's one pass of bad, and I'm not saying they are not bad, let's deal with that particular individual, report them, take them through due process. If there's a particular chief who was involved in this, in Nyoro, I can assure you.
Please, we won. And for the last time,
sorry,
I'm extending the debate.
This one they didn't win.
It was laughable.
This one they didn't win.
That
is why we are challenging the results.
It was laughable.
Yes,
it was laughable,
gentlemen.
that the same people who have been promising Raila Odinga that please come, you have the votes. It is us, the system, who actually announces the winners. The same people who call themselves deep state, the same people who call themselves systems, they were coming very defeated yesterday, claiming the vote was stolen.
To be fair,
it is laughable. I have never seen a government that actually takes dumps with the people like Murada who cannot let Kenyans breathe, coming so defeated yesterday.
Murada is not in this
program.
It's not in this program.
With some flimsy allegations.
Thank you. Gentlemen, this will be the final. Absolutely.
Yes, this is my parting shot. This is my parting shot.
Yes.
I think as a country we should be grateful to His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga for their wisdom to have that handshake. Without that handshake, maybe by now we'll be a different state. Maybe we'll have a civil law.
We'll let it there, with all due respect. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Here's the thing. Our news cycle flashes past you in such dizzying pace that we don't forget to chance for a true emotional connection with what's happening around us, like what's happened tonight in this show. Just a few days ago, Saiton was one of the headlines of our news, thrust by social media by message from a frustrated investor who blew open the whole facade that was housing investment in this country.
Cyton has been frustrating myself and my friends. We invested in the Cyton High Yield Fund. COVID has hit the country, and Cyton uses COVID as an excuse of not releasing our money to us. Yet, they had invested our money the previous year.
All right, so there's a long-held misconception that real estate is a high-yield investment. Truth, it is not. You will not generate a lot of income in this business, and you cannot easily convert this into cash. Here's the thing, property prices in this country have shot up in a very short period of time. Why is that? There's an impression that building and selling houses is a no-brainer. There's always someone who wants a house, right? So the long-held idea is that because there's endless demand for housing, you just need to build, there'll be a ready customer, there's a customer to, for the property, it will triple its value in a few short years, and there'll be someone willing to fork out that cash. Pyramid scheme, basically. So building on this, what Cyton did is, based on the market story and the story we have told ourselves about housing in Kenya, it takes a huge expensive loan. The loan is called mezzanine loan. The loan was just about enough for Cyton to start one property. The expectation is there will be a buyer or a broker who buys the property, then offload it on completion. All this is based on one thing, one simple Kenya thing, deals. Somehow, some people with bucket loads of money pinch from somewhere looking for a place to dump the cash. Our entire housing market is based on this. In other words, illicit money. That illicit money is the one that keeps inflating housing prices in this country. If our market wasn't distorted, it would have been possible to rent out the Cyton units, generate some sort of income, and convert some of this loan into a real estate income trust. But there's a small problem with that. Remember, those units that Cyton talked about are not complete. And even if they were, there are thousands of other units around Nairobi that don't have tenants because of the inflation in the market. Well, truth is, our economy is not growing, and it cannot support a real estate industry that is said to be growing at 15%. That's all for tonight. With all due respect, my name is James Smart. Thank you very much for my panelists who've come tonight. Very lively debate. Next time, at some point, we'll talk about state capture, if it exists or not, and we'll go to the real details on who exactly is benefiting from political money. Let's have that honest, raw conversation. Have a good night. We'll have this all over again next week, same time, same station.
This is NTV.
Presenting the new Harpic bathroom cleaner. Compared to ordinary detergents, its thick formulation gives you superior cleaning and kills 99.9% of germs and viruses all around the bathroom. Blue
for the toilet
and red
for the bathroom.
get an 1/8 acre plot at Kenya shillings 198